Hello everybody, welcome back to Firefield Junction, and we've got another review for you today. This one, it's one that I've been umming and ahhing about doing for a while. I was definitely always going to do one, but I was just unsure of when to do it, whether to do it now or to wait for a bit to see if I would, to basically whether to get one or not. However, I decided to take the plunge, and I finally got hold of one of the brand new retooled Class 47s, as we can see, by Bachmann. This particular one, as we can see, this is in the railfreight triple grey construction sector livery. This is from the first batch of new tooled 47s that Bachmann did. I was going to wait until they brought out some more liveries, mainly some more modern ones. But I eventually decided on this one because obviously I do quite like the railfreight triple grey livery. I really do like it. I've mentioned this in previous videos. I don't really, this isn't the main era that I do. I obviously do a modern image around sort of now in the last 10 years or so. But I liked the railfreight triple grey so much, and quite a few of the freight liveries from the 80s and 90s, that I decided to build up a fleet of them, just mainly for the exhibition layouts that I have, and also mainly just because I like it so much. I love the freight liveries from the 80s and 90s. I just wanted to have a fleet of locomotives from then to run because I just like them so much. So I eventually decided on this one because I felt it would probably be the best fit for what I model and basically for what I like. But this particular one, it's not as you'd get it from the factory, because this particular one has been weathered by TMC by the model centre. As we can see there, it's been expertly weathered, and the weathering that I've had done, it's the value weathering that I had done with this. It's not quite what I was expecting. I was expecting it to maybe be a bit more, well, not more realistic, because it is quite good. I thought there'd be a bit more to it, a bit more complexity to it, but it's a bit more simple than what I was expecting. But overall, it's still really good weathering. I do think it does look good. And well, the reason I went, the main reason I went for this one from the model centre is because of the price. Because currently, last time I checked anyway, which was basically when I purchased this model, they had these on sale. I'm guessing they probably still do have a few. But they have a few of these versions of the sound-fitted versions of this model on sale for a really good price of £270. And I know that obviously that does sound like quite a lot of money, and it is still a fair bit of money. But for this version, because the RRP for this particular version, this is just the standard sound version. This isn't the deluxe version. It's just the regular sound version. The RRP is well over £300 for this version. So I thought that would be a really good bargain. So I thought I might as well go for it, because the chances of me seeing one for that price or less is not going to be very high. Obviously at the moment anyway. So I thought I'd go for it. But also the main thing is that most of the weathering options that TMC offer, most of them are free add-ons with this loco. So I thought I might as well go for it, because I can get the loco and then get free weathering with it as well, which is really, really good. The only weathering that they offer that you still have to pay for with this loco is their deluxe weathering. But all of the other weathering options they offer are a free add-on with this loco. Again, at the time of filming anyway, at the time and when I purchased the model, obviously it might not be now when you're watching it, but certainly when I purchased the model, the weathering options, the weathering add-ons for this loco were a free add-on. So I thought I might as well go for it, because that's just brilliant, isn't it? Getting free weathering on a loco. But obviously, yeah, overall, well, can't really complain really. So obviously it is a Class 47. It is the brand new tooling. Obviously it hasn't even been out a year yet, this model. I can't actually remember when Bachmann first announced this tooling, but obviously it is brand new. Obviously, especially with the prices, because the prices are well, they're insane. So I certainly wouldn't recommend paying the RRP for any of the new tooled locos. But if you shop around and you can get one for a really good price, then I recommend doing it, because they do look good. From what I've seen, these locos do look fantastic. Plenty of liveries available as well. Obviously, there's this one, there's BR Blue, BR Two-Tone Green. They've done Scott Rail. They've done an exclusive Rail Operations Group one, which I was looking at originally, but I eventually decided I'm not going to bother, because the price was just ludicrous, to be honest, and I didn't really want to wait for it to come down at all. So I thought I'll go for this one. And I think they've done some others as well. I can't quite remember what others they've done. I think that yes, they've done Large Logo. That's another one they've done. There's a few liveries out at the moment, not the biggest selection in the world, but there are a few out there. So if you do want one, hopefully one of the liveries out there will appeal to you. But hopefully, I'm sure Bachmann will do some more liveries in the future. They're certainly not going to stop now. But anyway, if we have a look at the end of the box, we can see exactly what this one is. So it's a Class 47/0. It's 47004 in the BR rail freight construction sector. Sound fitted. Again, this isn't the deluxe version, it's just the standard sound version. On the back of the box, there's obviously some information about the 47s in real life. Obviously, they began in 1960. They use Solzer type engines. Obviously, they're still running today. I really do like the 47s personally. I think they're very nice locos. They're not my most favourites in the world, but I do like them. I think they are really, really nice locos. Obviously, plenty of operators still using them today. Obviously, West Coast Railways use them. I can't remember if Rail Operations Group still have some. I think they sold the ones that they had. I don't think they have them anymore. But yeah, I know West Coast Railway still use them. LSL still use them as well. They've got a few. I don't think DRS have any anymore. Colas certainly don't have theirs anymore. But there are still quite a few running about. So if you want to see one, hopefully you should be able to see one if you want to. But obviously, there's plenty of them on various heritage railways around the country as well. But anyway, enough rambling. Let's open up the box and see what this brand new tooled loco is like. So it's still the standard Bachmann packaging. It's very, very nice. God, the loco weighs an absolute ton. It's really, really heavy. We'll look at it in a moment. So first of all, we've got the usual paperwork here. So we might as well have a quick look through this. So it is important if we can open it up. There we are. So here we go. So the first thing we've got here, we've got the list of the sound functions. So there's quite a few sound functions there. I think there's quite a few different lighting functions as well. I'm not sure if it shows them on here, but I'm pretty sure that there are quite a few lighting functions. Yes, there's a few there down at the bottom there. So we've got directional lights, number 1 ends, number 2 ends. So yeah, there's a bit more customization with the lights compared to the old Class 47, which we'll look at that in a moment. So I have got one down next to me, so we'll compare them in a moment. But yeah, quite a few sound functions as well. It's a Zimmo decoder that's in these, a Plux 22 Zimmo decoder, with dual speakers as well. These models have got dual speakers in them. One of them is just a standard sugar cube. Then they've also got a more bass enhanced speaker as well, which is a bit lower down in the chassis. So you should get some very reliable, decent quality sound from them as well. And yeah, looking through, yeah, we've got quite a lot of functions, so that'll be good. So we can listen to some of those later. If we put that to one side, so we've got the usual warranty and owner's manual. And then here we go. This is the side we want. So we've got accessories. Obviously, yeah, there's an accessories bag just there in the top, and that shows you where to put all of them. The snowplow goes in the NEM pocket. The NEM couplings on this are still mounted to the bogie, which I personally prefer. I'm not the biggest fan of kinematic couplings. I find they can cause problems quite a lot of the time. But anyway, we continue looking through. So we've got some more stuff here. So more accessories. That's quite interesting. So you've got some detail for the bogies. I'm guessing that's only if you're going to run it on a smaller, larger radius curves. So I'm guessing that that detail will clash with the bogies. If you run it on too tight curves with that detail fitted. I'm guessing that's the case, though. It might still fit actually. Oh wait, here you go there. Please note. So this may derail your locomotive when fitted to the inner ends of the bogies. Okay. So yeah, I'm guessing you only really want to use this detail if you're going to be running it on straight track or very gentle curves. But that's fair enough. Removing the that's lubrication. So the axles, yeah, that's very important. Switches underneath as well for okay, so that's DC operations. That's not going to be applicable to us. But if you do run these on analog, or if you have an analog version, that will be applicable to you, so you can get a bit more customization with the lights. So that's very good. Body removal, so you've got some screws. So you've got 2 screws around the center, and then one at each end, it looks like. Yeah, so 6 screws, same as the old version then, but I believe in different places, I think. I'm pretty sure on the older version it was a screw, 1 screw either side around the center, and then 2 screws at each end, I think it was. We'll look at that in a second though. Then you can see there, so we've got the decoder, so where to put the decoder. Obviously this one's already got a decoder fitted, and then that's just functions there for the deluxe version, but obviously that's not applicable to us because this doesn't have the working fans or anything. And then more obviously in spare parts. Yeah, that we don't need to look at that. But anyway, let's get the logo back in shot. We'll pull off this sleeve. There we go. So we've got the detail bag here. So if we just have a quick look at this. Sellotapes very strong. There we go. Okay, we've got two detail bags. That's why it was quite hard to get off. There we go. So look at this one first. We've got some etched plates there, and some etched. Oh, that's quite nice. We've got some etched British Rail logo plates as well to put on the side. That's quite nice. And then looks like a flower or something. I could be wrong, but we've got some etched plates there anyway to fit to the logo. So that's quite nice. I'm sure I'll fit those at some point. And then we've got the regular detail bag here. Quite a lot of detail in here. So we've got these snow plows, we've got chain link couplings, electrical cables, all sorts of detail inside there. Obviously a blanking plate as well if we will want to run the loco on DC. But yeah, loads and loads of detail there. I'll definitely be fitting some of that at some point. So that's quite nice. So we'll put that to one side as well. And now we can grab the locomotive. So if we just lift this up, so we get rid of all this paper that TMC have put in. They've obviously put that in to help protect the logo. There you go, I'll get rid of that. God, this is quite daunting actually, because this will be the first time I've ever handled the loco. So if we just lift it out, there we go. And then we can get rid of the packaging, put that to one side. And here we are. Now the first thing is we need to be careful because there is a lot of detail on this loco. And wow, look at this. This is absolutely amazing. Bachmann really have gone to town on these, and they should be really good for the price because the price is ludicrous. I'd say even the RRP, well, the RRP is ludicrous. Even despite how good these models are, they're still not worth about, I think this version, I think the RRP is around £330 or something. Something like that. Even though this is a fantastic model, it really is a good model, that price is still far too high in my opinion, because you've got companies like Accurascale which are producing obviously their brand new Class 37, and we've already seen their Deltic. Obviously the sound versions of that are, well, basically, well, they're the same price as the sale price that I got this loco for from TMC. And obviously I think those locos are probably much better than this. So it shows that even though Bachmann are producing some really good brand new models, the prices are still way too high for what they are. But ignoring the price, this loco is amazing. Obviously, if we just ignore the weathering for the moment, so obviously this loco doesn't come weathered. It's amazing. But the weathering that TMC have done, they've done a brilliant job on it. And actually looking at it further, I can actually see more. When I've only had a quick glance at this when I first got it. I really did quickly take it out of the box to have a very quick glance. But looking at it properly now, I can see that they have actually done some really good weathering, because there's actually a few different colours on the bogies. Got some sleep grime on there, and then there's also some brake dust weathering on there. There's some streaking down the side as well. We can see it there we've got the exhaust there. We've got weathering on the underframe as well. All of the pipes, separately fitted pipes as well. The livery is applied really, really well. And the weight is astonishing. It's definitely heavier than the old Bachmann Class 47. It really does weigh a ton. Sprung buffers, as you'd expect. The couplings, as I mentioned earlier, as you can see, they are still mounted to the bogie, which is absolutely fine by me, because I do not like kinematic couplings. Well, I say I don't like them. They're okay. When they work, they're okay. But they do cause more problems, I think, than anything else. But one thing I have noticed is the couplings are slightly different compared to the old version. If I just bring in the old version, actually, if I can grab it. Ooh. Here we go. So this is the old Bachmann Class 47. This is the West Coast Railways version, which I have looked at. So if you want to go and see the review on that, then feel free to. Ignore the bit of snow plough in the front there. I tried to fit the snow plough to this at one point, but it was too tight. And when I tried to get it out, it broke, and I cannot get the rest of the sort of coupling that the snow plough connects to out of there. But yeah, we'll ignore that for the moment. But if I just hold these two locos side by side, it's going to be difficult if I have to do it like this. But hopefully you can see there, obviously on the old version, the actual NEM pocket is molded to the bogie, but on the new version just there, as you can see, we've actually got a separately fitted NEM pocket with a dovetail connection to the bogie, and then plugged into that, we've got the actual coupling itself. On the old version, the coupling is just a coupling. Well, obviously, as you can see, the actual NEM pocket is just molded into the actual bogie frame, and then you've got the coupling just slotted into that. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's still a good problem. That's still a good solution. It still does work very well. But you haven't got the separately fitted dovetail sort of NEM pockets connection there. And I suppose with this solution, I suppose then if you wanted to, you can remove the entire coupling fully. So then when you're running the loco, you don't have to see the NEM pockets behind all the detail, which I suppose it's not too bad. It's a pretty good solution actually. But again, if we just put the old version to one side again for a moment, just looking at the underframe, I can't stop looking at the underframes. The underframe detail is so good. Obviously we've still got the typical all-wheel drive and all-wheel pickup. The bogie frames on these are now screwed and clipped on. It's not just clips holding them on anymore, so they're a bit more securely attached. So if those clips do fail, and the bogie frames shouldn't, famous last words, they shouldn't come falling off, so they've still got these screws they're holding them on. These bogie towers are now solid die-cast pieces now as well. Obviously on the old versions, the bogie towers are made of plastic, but on this version they are die-cast. Bachmann have put a lot more metal work into this loco, because you've got a bigger chassis block inside as well. The cab detail, we haven't looked at that yet. There is a cab detail inside. You can see some of it there, loads of painted detail inside there. Is there a driver fitted though? No, there's no driver fitted to these, which is quite strange actually, because that's something that Bachmann was quite famous for, was fitting drivers to their locos. We can see in the old version, we've got a nice driver in the cab, but in the new version, we've got no driver. Which I suppose for some people they'll be fine with that, because at least then they can put their own driver in if they want to, which they might want to do, and because they might want to put in a more realistic driver that they've painted themselves maybe. But it was quite nice having the driver there anyway, because obviously it does look a bit better. Otherwise it looks like no one's driving it, but I suppose for some people they'll be happy with that. I quite liked it though, but it's not a massive issue I suppose. We've got loads of handrails around the front as well. We've got the aerial, separately fitted wipers. The doors do not open, but that's not too bad because they look pretty good. The lights obviously do work. You've got some nice bright headlights, including the high intensity headlamp, tail lights as well. You've got cab lights. I think you might even have engine room lights in these, but I'm not too sure. I could be wrong. I'll have a quick look through. I'll have a detailed look through the sound and the instructions later. But I have a feeling you have engine room lights in these, but I'm not too sure. But again, we'll have a look at that later. They're pretty sure there is actually proper engine room detail inside these as well, which you can't actually see. Can we see it from the other side? No, but there is. Oh no, we can see a little bit inside there. They have put proper engine room detail inside these, which I think is really good. Ignore my grubby fingerprints; that's ruining the body a bit. But yeah, they have done some proper engine room detail inside here, which obviously you can't see from the outside, but they have done it, and that is really good. They didn't need to, but they have done it. That is really good. Again, you've got more weathering down the side there. Oh, I can't stop looking at it. It's such a fantastic model, and again, it weighs a ton as well. It is a really heavy model. Yeah, this is fantastic. But anyway, before we put it on the track, I thought what we'd do is we'll quickly do a comparison between the various versions of the Class 47 that have been done over the years. Obviously, we've got the brand new version here, which we just looked at, and then we've obviously got the older version here. The new version, obviously, it's definitely better. There's more detail to it. Again, just looking at the old version, the underframe detail, there's not quite as much of it. The roof, I say the roofs, they actually look fairly similar. But the roofs, I think they have been a bit more prototypical with the roofs on these new versions. I need to spin this one round actually. There we go, do it that way so it's the right way round. I think there were a few sort of tooling issues or inaccuracies, I suppose, with the older version. And I think the roof was one of those, because I think the roof profile on some of the older models was not correct. I could be wrong there, but I think that was the case. But the new version, the roof is definitely better. The grille where the fans are is much more finely moulded compared to the old version, and the detail just generally looks a little bit better. It's weird actually looking at the new version and how sort of, well, rubbish it makes the older version look. But I suppose rubbish is a bit too far, because the old version, there's nothing wrong with the old version. It's still a good model. Obviously it's much cheaper as well. It's definitely still a good model though. These older versions, they're still very, very good. Definitely nothing wrong with them. Obviously that's the older version, which we're calling it older because it's not really that old, but it is now. Bachmann have done, I think they did an 8-pin version of their Class 47 when they first did them. I could be wrong, but I don't have that version, the first version that Bachmann did. I do have an older version, which is older than this, but it's still 21-pin. It's still, I think, pretty much the same as this. I think it's just maybe the mechanism and the circuit board may be slightly different, but it's not, I wouldn't classify it as a older version compared to this, because it is still pretty much similar. But I'd say probably the next one down from this that I do have is the V-Trains version. So this is the V-Trains Class 47, and this is obviously in the railfreight triple grey, but with the Freightliner branding. And this one, again, it's still not bad. It's definitely not quite as good as the Bachmann version, but it is still a fairly decent model. The detail is still okay. You've still got sprung buffers. You've still got NEM couplings. It's kinematic couplings on these as well. These kinematic couplings actually work very well on the V-Trains locos, which is quite nice. However, the detail, I wouldn't say the detail's not quite as good. There's definitely not quite as much of it on this version, on these versions, compared to the Bachmann versions. Especially considering that you have to fit a lot of the detail yourself with the V-Trains models. But apart from that, they're still good models. And the mechanisms are okay. You've still got a nice motor in the centre with twin flywheels. It's not all-wheel drive, because obviously the centre wheels don't drive and they don't pick up either. But overall, the V-Trains version is still not too bad. It's still a good model. The next one down from that, I then say, is Hornby's Railroad version, which we have here. So this is the Hornby Railroad version. Ignore the snowplow because it doesn't come with that. So that was something that I fitted myself. But obviously the Hornby's Class 47, cheap, rubbish, lightweight. But overall it's okay though. Obviously this is the latest version of their Class 47. And it's okay, the livery is applied really well. There's an okay amount of detail. It's not great though. There's no sprung buffers, which they're just giant plastic things. It weighs nothing. It's really, really light, so it's not going to pull much. It does have traction tyres. It's only a single driven bogie, only 2 driven axles. The pickups on this one weren't the best either. It's not great. It does have NEM coupling. Does it have NEM couplings? Yes, it does. It is a NEM pocket. It doesn't look like it though, but it does have NEM couplings. So it's okay, but I suppose the main thing is the detail and the weight. It's pretty rubbish. The quality isn't great. It does feel quite cheap. But it's okay. Some people do like it. I can obviously do stuff to this. I can weather it if I want to, which I might do at some point. There's plenty I can do to it. I've already upgraded the speaker inside as well. So this is their TTS version that they did with the Rail Operations Group 1. They did the other Rail Operations Group 47 as well. But this was the one that had the sound fitted, which is why I went for it. I've already upgraded the speaker inside as well, so it's already a little bit better. But anyway, that's, I'd say, is the next version. And then obviously right at the bottom, we have the Lima version. So this is the Lima Class 47. I do have quite a few of these. This is the driven bogie, I think. Yes, it is. So I'd say this is probably at the bottom. I'd say the one area where this is definitely better compared to this is the weight. This is much heavier, definitely much heavier inside compared to the older version of the compared to the Hornby Railroad 47. Now I know obviously this is just an updated version of this, but this definitely weighs more. This is much heavier compared to this. This weighs nothing. This is quite heavy. This is probably more reliable as well, I'd say. But yeah, I'd say obviously detail. I'd say this does have a little bit more detail. It's got a little bit more, a few more features, and it does run better as well, I'd say. But the Lima versions, whilst I'd say they're probably the worst, overall they're not too bad. Obviously Hornby have done a 1980s version. They did do a 47 in the 1980s, which I actually forgot I had. I do have one of them, but I forgot to bring it down here. But overall, As we can see, plenty of versions of the 47 available. This is definitely the best one now. Probably the worst. Well, this could be the worst, I suppose, but plenty of versions of the 47 available. So if you do want one, obviously, as you can see, plenty of versions about. Obviously, this isn't all of them, but if you do want a 47, yeah, plenty of them out there for you. But anyway, the next thing to do is we need to put the new 47 on the track. We'll give her a test, try some of the sounds, get her running as well, because she is a brand new loco, so she will need running in, and we'll see what she's like. So let's go and do that. Okay, here we are. We're still on the inner loop at the moment, because the inner loop is still not available at the moment. Well, we can use it if we wanted to, but I just prefer using the inner loop at the moment because, well, there's currently another train taking up the outer loop at the moment. So yeah, we're going to have to deal with the inner loop now, still for the moment. But I'm perfectly fine, at least for testing the loco and running it in. Now I've had a look through the sound instructions, and there does seem to be a bit more to them than what I previously thought. First thing is, after looking through, there is no engine room lighting. There's no function for that, so they obviously don't have that. I had a feeling they had them, but they obviously don't. But that's fine, because you probably wouldn't be able to see them very well anyway. But yeah, after looking through, yeah, there's quite a lot of functionality with these new models. Definitely better than the previous sound coders and sound fitted models that you could get with these 47s. So we'll quickly have a look through at the function list, which is just here. Ooh, it's not the loco there, that's fine. But yeah, quite a long list of functions, various lighting functions and sound functions. So we'll go through, we won't go through all of them, we'll try and go through most of them if we can. So first one is obviously the regular directional lighting. And now there is a sound effect with this as well. So if we just put the lights on, you can see there we've got a nice sound there of what I assume is the driver flicking these switches to turn on the lights. And if you change direction as well, you can get a sound effect with that as well. So that's quite nice. And then we'll skip a few functions quickly, because then on functions 20 and 21, to show you this, I'll change direction again. And it's function 21, I think, for this end. Let's just try it. Okay, no, it's function 20 for this end. If we press that, we can see it turns the tail lights off, but the headlights are still on at this end. So you get the option there. Function 20 does the fan end. Function 21 does the non-fan end. That'll probably be the easiest way for you to identify it. And that basically turns off the tail lights, basically at one of the ends. So that obviously then if you've got a rake or wagons or whatever behind your 47, you don't have to have the tail lights on. So that's a very good feature. And if we just turn that off, we'll go back to the beginning. There we go. So the next function is on function 2 is actually a braking function. So this will be useful for when you're running the loco and you want to basically slow it down without using the, I'm guessing, the dial or whatever on your controller. I believe you can activate that function and it will, and the loco will slow down. Obviously, as long as that function is enabled. If you then release it again, the loco will then just accelerate back up to whatever value you've got it set to on your controller. So we might as well try it quickly actually. If we just, I'll push the loco back quickly, and this will actually be the first time it's ever moved as well. So let's get it moving a bit. Yeah, I'm guessing let's activate function 2. Yeah, and there we go. So that I didn't even touch the dial there. All I did was activate function 2, and the loco slowed down to obviously standing. You also got, and you got these sounds of the brakes applying there as well. And if I release it again, and the loco starts moving again. So that's really, really nice. So if we get it to stop again, and she doesn't want to. There we go. Oh, yeah, there we go. She's just slowing down really slowly. And bring her back the other way. Really, really smooth operation as well. And she hasn't even run in yet. This is the first time she's ran, and already she is really smooth, really quiet. You can't really ask for much better, can you? So let's bring her to a stop again. There we are, really, really good. Yeah, can't fault that at all. Quickly, before we do move on, I have already actually reduced the volume of the decoder as well. These are set very, very loud when you first get them. So I've turned it down. The factory setting is 192. I've set it to 100, which is definitely more suitable. And then hopefully my ears will last longer as well. So let's do 2 of the horns. So that's very good. They're very nice horns. I'm pretty sure those horns have not changed since Bachmann started doing sound files for their Class 47, because I do have a few other lock sound decoders with Class 47 sound on, and all of the horns on all of them, including this one, are all exactly the same. However, before we continue, there is an option on the decoder. Simply by changing a CV, you can change the horns. If we just go to the instructions, it does say, here we go, just there, functions 3 and 4 for the horns. You can change CV 169, and you've got a list there. Depending on what you set it to, you'll get alternative horns. So what I'll quickly do now is I'll change that actually. I'll change it to number 3, I think, and we'll see what some of the alternative horns are like. So I'll see you in a second. Okay, so we're back. I've changed CV 169. I set it to number 3. There's several different options as you just saw on the instructions, but I've set it to number 3. So if we try the horns now, so function 3, previously when you activated that, it was more of a trigger, I think, sort of function, so it would turn off automatically, but now you have to turn it off manually yourself. But that's fine, because at least you can choose how long you want the horn to sound for. And then function 4 has also changed. So that's quite nice. It's very nice that Bachmann have given you some different options there for the horns. So if you don't like the standard ones, which of course I'm not a massive fan of, they were good whilst they were around, but I think now it'd be nice to have something different. So I'll probably leave it as those. I might change them though. But yeah, it's very nice that Bachmann have given you some alternative horns if you want them. But anyway, let's continue looking through some of the sounds. The instructions have gotten stuck. There we go. So if we continue through, so function 5 is a function called heavy load, and that basically makes the loco accelerate slower compared to what its standard acceleration value is set to. And that's obviously useful if you've got maybe a large freight train behind it or something. So I won't demonstrate that for now. But again, a very nice function to have. Function 6 is coasting, which obviously, that will just make the loco slow down more, or it will just, I think it actually just changes the engine sounds maybe. So the speed of the loco won't really change, but it will maybe turn down the notch of the engine sounds, I think. It's something like that, but again, a very nice function. 7 is basically maximum revs, that's what it says. So that will basically just rev the engine sound to the highest value. But it won't matter what speed the engine's doing. So again, that's very nice. Function 8 is coupling and uncoupling. So let's try that. Yeah, it does the job. Oh, still going. There we go. Okay, so I'm guessing you got the sound there of, obviously the first one was coupling. I'm guessing the other sounds there were obviously the air hoses and things like that. So that's quite nice. Function 9 is flange squeal, but it says speed dependent, so I doubt it will work whilst the loco is stood still. So if we get it moving a little bit, and do the flange squeal. No, do we need to go a bit faster? Okay, no, so we might need to have the engine running for that. We'll just bring it back. There we go. But yeah, obviously the flange squeal, we're used to that. We know what flange squeal sounds like, don't we? So let's continue. Function 10, I don't think is going to be applicable to us, because I think it says this is for the operating fans, but obviously this model doesn't have those because it's not the deluxe model, but it might still play the sound though, so let's have a go. Okay, nope, so I think the fans only work, you can only get that sound on the deluxe models, but that's fine. You might get the sound there when the engine is running, but it's not a massive problem, I suppose. Oh wait, hold on. Function 11, machine room lights on off. So it does have the engine room lights. So let's put those on. Yeah, there we go. Silly me, I obviously didn't see that when I was looking for the instructions, but yes, we do have engine room lighting, and it actually looks really, really good actually. Much a lot brighter and more easy to see than what I was expecting it to be. So that's nice. Silly me, that shows that I obviously don't read enough. But yeah, that's very, very nice to have. Guard's whistle is on function 12. And yeah, obviously after that, it's also got the driver's response horn, which that's obviously the driver responding that he's heard the horn, and so forth. So yeah, that's quite nice. Function 13 and 14 are cab lights, and they do the lights at each end. There we go, and the other end. Yeah, very good, and you also get the sound with those as well. Function 15 is auto uncouple cycle, so let's see what that does. Okay, so that's quite nice. So it's I think this is a function that Bachmann have done before on a previous loco. I think their 37s had it. The previous batch of 37s that they did. I can't remember if it was that if that is what the function was called. But it is quite a nice function to have. Obviously, you get the loco moving forward and backwards a little bit. Obviously, simulating coupling up and uncoupling or so forth. So that's quite a nice function to have. Function 16 is the AWS horn, which doesn't work without the engine running, and I'm guessing the AWS bell won't work either. Okay, nope, so again, that's another sound that you can only have working when the engine sounds are going, but that's fine. 18 is sound fade out and fade in, so that's obviously if you have the sound running and you have the loco running. If you want to turn the sound off or just mute the sound temporarily without actually switching off the sounds, then you can activate that, so that's quite nice. 19 is mute, so we won't bother with that for now. We've done 20 and 21, which that's the tail lights, turning those off separately. 22 is manual notching logic, whatever that is. Let's see if that does anything when we activate it. Nope. I'm not sure what it does though, unless that might be, that might actually be the speed. I think it's speed lock or something. I can't remember exactly what it is, but I think that's the function. That's what it will do. Is it will lock the speed of the loco, so that you can change the notch of the engine sound using the knob on your controller, but it won't actually change the speed of the loco. So let's see if we get the loco moving, and then activate function 22, and then if we get her to go a bit faster. Okay, no, it doesn't seem to be doing anything. Just press emergency stop to get her to stop. There we go. We just slide her back again. So yeah, I'm not too sure what that does, but it obviously doesn't do what I thought it does, but we'll leave that for now. Function 23 is the Spirex valve. Now I have tried this and it doesn't play very often, so we'll have to leave it going for a bit. So yeah, as you can see what I mean, it's not very constant. Other locos do have better Spirex valves, to be honest. Not the best Spirex valve in the world, to be honest, Bachmann, but I suppose it does the job. Function 24 is station announcements. Now you probably won't use that for this loco. I suppose you could do if you've got it sat in the station and you want to simulate that there's going to be another train passing through on the opposite platform or something. It could be useful, but let's hear it.
Stand well away from the edge of platform 4. The approaching train is not scheduled to stop at this station.
Yeah, that's not too bad. And then function 25, we've got the driver's door open and shut. So that's quite good. So when you first press it, it will be the sound of the door opening. Then when you turn it off, it will be the sound of the door closing. So that's quite good. Then function 26 is air dump. Yeah, it does the job, I suppose. And that's it. So overall, not too bad. So I think what we need to do now is we need to get a run in, because again, obviously she is brand new. She's only run a tiny bit, obviously just now while we've been testing the sounds, but she needs a nice long running in session. So let's get her running in, then we'll come back and we'll give her a bit more testing. So as we can see, she's running very well already. Despite her only having about a minute's running time so far, she's already sounding really, really smooth. No horrible noises. Overall, really, really good. So we'll leave her to do around probably another 25 to 30 minutes in this direction, then another 25 to 30 minutes in the other direction, and then we can come back and continue. Okay, so here we are. So the loco is now finished running in. She's had a nice long period in each direction. She's running very, very well, nice and smooth, no horrible noises. She's not making any unhappy sounds. Everything is working very, very nicely. So So I think all that's left to really do now is we can fire up the sounds again, because she's just been left running without the sounds on whilst running in, so there's no point in having the sounds running whilst running her in. We can now fire them up, and we'll give her a good run around the layout now with the sound on, and we can really see what her performance is like. First of all, let's see what her slow speed is like. We know it's going to be good. There we go, that's the slowest speed step, and that, as we can see, very, very good. Nice and smooth, nice and slow, very, very good. But anyway, let's fire up the engine sounds, and I'll do the cold start for you this time actually. Well, I can't actually remember, I don't think I've actually showed you the regular starting up sequence yet. So actually what I'll do is I'll do the standard startup sequence for you, then we'll turn it off, and then I'll do the cold start for you. So as you can hear, the sound is very, very good, and the engine sounds are really, really nice as well. But if we just turn those off, we'll let that shut down, and then we'll do the cold start. And all you need to do is to do the cold start, just press the function 1 key 3 times, and that will then do the cold start sequence. So let's let her shut down a moment. It takes this a while to do. There we are, and now we'll do the cold start. Yeah, so the cold start, it's not too bad, it's not incredibly long, unlike some other sound files, but overall it's still not too bad. Anyway, let's get her running and we'll see what she's like. And we'll do about 50% speed, so will probably be enough. This is running really well, sounds really, really good. And while she's running, I think we'll try some of the other functions that we weren't able to try earlier. So well, let's try, what function should we do? Let's do function 7, which is the maximum revs. So this will make the engine sounds go to full power. And they're not too bad, I wouldn't say they're the best in the world. But certainly for factory sound, this is really, really good. If we deactivate function 7 again. Yeah, overall, she's a really fantastic loco. Detail is absolutely amazing. The sound is second to none. Her performance is absolutely outstanding. I'd say the only problem I'd say really with these is just the price. The RRP is certainly not very good. It certainly shouldn't be that high in my opinion anyway. But certainly for the price I paid, I think this is about right. Maybe a little bit cheaper would have been good, but overall, not too bad I think. If you want one of these locos, I definitely recommend you get one. I recommend looking around and trying to get one as cheap as you can. But certainly if you can get one, certainly for the price I paid, which was £270, I recommend getting it. I'm hoping that the model centre still have some of these, because that's obviously where I got mine from. And certainly when I purchased mine, they still had, I think they had roughly around 5 left in stock. So if they still have some left, I recommend getting one. And certainly I recommend getting some free weathering as well. But yeah, overall, an absolutely fantastic loco. Really, really amazing. And now let's have some ratings for the new tooling Bachmann Class 47 in the railfreight constructor sector livery, number 47004. Now first of all, the detail, well, it's got to be 10 out of 10 with this loco. The detail that Bachmann have put into this loco and their new 47s overall The detail is just fantastic. Loads and loads of detail all over the place. You just really can't go wrong with it. The detail is fantastic. You've got loads of detail on the underframe. The roof is very, very nice. Even the details in the detail bag, plenty of variation in there. I just really don't know what to say about it. The detail on this loco is just fantastic. Really, really good. Definitely up there in terms of detail on locos. This definitely just shows in this day and age what we can get into a loco with the detail, and it shows that even some of the locos that we still have today, especially from the likes of Hornby, that their locos and that they're doing today, a lot of those locos are still older toolings, and yet the price is probably even more than these, or probably around about the same, and yet the detail isn't as good on those. It just shows that with these new prices, what can be done and what manufacturers should be doing, and yet a lot of them out there still charging an awful lot of money for their models, and yet we're still receiving models that are over 10 years old. But yeah, overall the detail, can't go wrong with it. It's definitely a 10 out of 10 score. And the performance is also just as good as the detail. Definitely a 10 out of 10 score for that as well. The performance is just stunning. Really, really smooth, really quiet. There's just nothing about it that's at fault. It's all really, really good. Really a good speed, nice variation of speed as well. The mechanism that Bachmann have put into these, it's really, really good. Whilst it's pretty much the same as their older versions, it has been modernised slightly. You've got the proper metal bogey towers now instead of plastic ones. You really can't go wrong with it. The motors are really, really good as well. The performance is just amazing. If I could give it 11 out of 10, I would, but obviously I can't. But yeah, overall performance absolutely fantastic. Really can't go wrong with it. The quality as well is also 10 out of 10. It's just amazing. The entire model is put together really, really well. All of the parts are nice and straight. They don't feel like they're going to fall off in your hand. Everything is put together really well. And the features that you get as well, the amount of lighting features that you get with the model as well, it's just amazing. And the quality of the sound and the functionality of the decoder, it's all fantastic. For the price, it's really, really good. But however, the value for money, this is where I really wanted to give the model 10 out of 10 for this, because the price I paid for it was brilliant. Definitely spot on the money with what I got. But however, Bachmann's RRP for this model, it's still a bit too high. It should be lower. Again, whilst the loco is still really, really good, and it is an absolutely fantastic loco, I still can't see quite how it's worth the RRP that Bachmann are charging. So unfortunately, I have had to mark it down slightly for the very high RRP, but still, whilst you're getting a really good loco, I still don't think it's worth the over £330, I think it is, the Bachmann charge for this version anyway. So yeah, as much as I want to give it 10 out of 10 for the value for money, I can't quite do it. But overall, yeah, it's a fantastic loco, and that does give an overall score of 9.75 out of 10. Overall, a fantastic loco.